Attention passionate New York Giants fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on New York Giants' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true New York Giants fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and New York Giants fans. Let's get to the news now, folks. If you've been paying close attention to the NFL in recent weeks, especially to what's happening in the NFC East, you know that things are starting to shake up in a big way. There's a lot of buzz around potential trades, rebuilds, and strategic moves that could reshape the division. And one of the most talked about rumors right now involves none other than Jeffrey Simmons, the dominant defensive tackle from the Tennessee Titans. The whispers are getting louder that the Titans, currently sitting at 1-9 and clearly in rebuild mode, might be willing to part ways with Simmons. And if that happens, the New York Giants could be one of the main teams interested in making a move. This isn't just idle chatter. There's real speculation that a deal could be on the horizon after November 4th, especially given some recent comments from NFL insiders like Adam Schefter about the Titans' defensive struggles and rebuild plans. So what's really going on here? Well, let's break it down. Jeffrey Simmons is a game-changing interior defensive lineman. Over his 7-year career, he's been nothing short of a force, racking up over 250 tackles, more than 35 sacks, and maintaining an impressive PFF grade of 88.7. When you watch Simmons play, it's clear he's a disruptor, often drawing double teams, around 40% of the time, and generating pressure on the quarterback with over 180 pressures in his career. His ability to collapse the pocket and clog running lanes makes him a nightmare for offensive lines. Even in 2025, despite the Titans' rough season, Simmons has been a bright spot. Through just 8 games, he's accumulated 23 solo tackles, 10 assists, 5 sacks, and forced a fumble. His EPA expected points added against the run is 18, and he has a win rate of around 20%, showing he's consistently disruptive. Now consider what Simmons could do for the Giants. The team currently ranks near the bottom in run defense, allowing about 130 rushing yards per game, and their interior defensive line is pretty thin. Adding Simmons would be a game-changer. Projected to bring in around 8 sacks, along with a 22% increase in pressures, Simmons could help reduce opposing teams' rushing yards significantly, possibly down to around 95 yards per game, and improve the Giants' EPA versus the run to -0.25. That's a huge boost for a team that's been struggling to stop the run and create enough interior pressure. Simmons, in this context, would be a perfect complement to Dexter Lawrence, forming a formidable duo on the defensive front. This move isn't just about upgrading the roster, it's about shifting the entire defensive identity. The Giants' defense, historically tough and physical, has lacked that interior disruptor that can truly anchor the line and force offenses to rethink their game plan. With Simmons in the middle, the Giants could potentially elevate their 15% win rate against current DTs to over 20%, and that would translate into more turnovers, more pressure on the quarterback, and a significant leap forward in defensive efficiency. It's reminiscent of how the Eagles solidified their front with Fletcher Cox back in 2020, adding a disruptive force that transforms the entire line. From the Titans' perspective, they're in a tough spot. Their defense is allowing around 3 points per game, and their third down defense has been abysmal at 29.8%. They're clearly in rebuild mode, and with Simmons, a cornerstone player, they could look to recoup draft capital. Rumors suggest they might be willing to trade Simmons for a second-round pick in 2026, freeing up around $19 million in cap space, funds that could be directed towards developing a young quarterback or bolstering their offensive line. This type of move makes sense for Tennessee, especially given their need to rebuild from the ground up. They're not in a position to compete now, and holding on to a player like Simmons might not fit their long-term strategy if they're planning a rebuild, especially since they're already giving up 3 points per game and struggling to build a competitive defense. Now, why would the Giants be interested? Well, with a 2-9 record, they're still trying to find consistency on defense. Their current interior line isn't providing enough push, and their run defense has been porous. Bringing in Simmons would be a statement, an acknowledgement that they're serious about re-establishing their defensive identity. Plus, Simmons' potential presence on the line would lift the entire defense, allowing Dexter Lawrence to operate more freely and creating more turnovers. It's about building a defensive wall, a true fortress that can stop the run and pressure the QB relentlessly. It would be a bold move, but one that could pay huge dividends if executed correctly. This trade would also send shockwaves through the division. When you consider the impact of adding a player of Simmons' caliber, it's not just about improving the Giants' defense. It's about shifting the power dynamic in the NFC East. The Cowboys, Eagles, and even the Commanders will have to rethink their game plans if the Giants suddenly have a dominant interior presence. Simmons could serve as a pivotal X-factor, especially when it comes to stopping the run against division rivals like Dallas and Washington. His ability to disrupt their rushing schemes and pressure the quarterback would give the Giants a real edge, making them a more formidable opponent down the stretch. Odds of the trade happening are still in the speculative realm, but some betting markets have begun to reflect a significant increase in the likelihood of Simmons making a move to the Giants, or at least changing hands before the trade deadline. Books have moved from plus 50, 0 odds to around plus 25, 0, marking a 50% boost in expectation that something is brewing. The key here is timing. The Titans are likely to wait until after Week 10 or 11 to see how their season unfolds, but the window is closing. If Tennessee is serious about rebuilding, trading Simmons makes perfect sense, especially since they're looking to free up cap space and recoup draft picks. For the Giants, this move would be a statement of intent. They're not just trying to survive the season. They want to build a team that can contend for a Super Bowl. Adding Simmons would send a message to the league, to division rivals, and most importantly to their own locker room that they're serious about taking the next step. It's about setting a foundation on defense, creating a culture of relentless pressure, and establishing an identity that opponents fear. The Giants have been on the cusp of offensive excellence, but defense wins championships, and Simmons could be the missing piece that pushes them over the top. Of course, all of this hinges on whether the Titans are willing to part ways with Simmons and whether the Giants can make the right deal happen. But if recent history is any indication, the Giants have shown they're not shy about swinging for impactful players when the opportunity arises. Remember when they traded for Leonard Williams or picked up Dexter Lawrence and turned the defensive line into a strength? This could be their next big move, a strategic game-changing acquisition that transforms their defense and boosts their Super Bowl aspirations. Looking ahead, if the Giants manage to secure Simmons, it would be a game-changer not just for their defense, but for the entire team. Their odds of making the playoffs would improve, and their confidence would soar heading into the final stretch of the season. It's also a move that signals to the rest of the league that the Giants are serious contenders, not just a team fighting for scraps. It's about building a future that's rooted in a dominant, aggressive defense, something that's been missing for a while now, but could be restored with Simmons in the middle. So fans, this rumor isn't just idle speculation. It's a potential turning point for the Giants franchise. As the trade deadline approaches, all eyes will be on Tennessee and New York, watching closely to see if this blockbuster could become reality. If it does, prepare for a seismic shift in the NFC East and a new chapter in Giant history, one built on a wall of resistance led by Jeffrey Simmons, a true interior disruptor who could anchor the Giants' defensive line for years to come. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUBE algorithm to keep recommending the latest New York Giants news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, New York Giants fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this potential Simmons trade? Do you think it's the move that could elevate the Giants to the next level? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the team. Remember, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Giants news because this offseason, things are heating up and the Giants are right in the middle of it. Keep the faith and let's keep dreaming big, because with the right moves, the Giants can once again become a force to be reckoned with in the NFL.